Okay, this time I'm going to make a video of the 909X2 and the 990X on, obviously on shortwave, but on using ECSS mode. And now I'm tuned into Radio Clube de Pará, if I pronounce that correctly, all the way down in Brazil. And have to say, this radio just blows me away on ECSS. Now, one of my favourite radios of all time is the Tecsun PL-990. Its ECSS mode is great, but it is a little bit, it's a little bit hampered by the soft muting. Whereas in this radio here, if you press and hold info, you can turn that off. There you go. So on the PL-990, it's a great radio, but that soft muting does hamper really weak DX just a little bit too much sometimes. But I'm really impressed here. Now, because the XYL is downstairs in the sitting room watching TV, or telly as we call it here, I came up to the shack, so it's quite cool up here, so I'm not going to be long. So I'm using the myantennas.com EFHW8010, and the other thing that blows me away about this radio is it doesn't overload. Not on the shortwave, on the long wave, yes, and possibly medium wave. I haven't tested it on medium wave, but certainly on shortwave there's no overload. On the Tecsun, if I plug this antenna in, I'll probably have to use on some bands, not all of them, on some bands I'll have to use the normal or local antenna switch, because it can overload. This antenna is 134 feet long. I really wanted to use the Bonito because I think the Bonito has the edge for receiving outside of the ham bands. On the ham bands, obviously the myantennas.com is going to win. It's 134 feet long, but for commercial shortwave, really weak DX, that Bonito whip is just amazing. But anyway.
O elenco do Tecsun foi formado lá na frente, primeira vez obrigado, depois veio o Lincoln, depois veio o Evans, ele permaneceu dentro dessa operação do time.
Different tone switch. Top position, middle, and bottom. Antenna is on max. I have the DC power connector connected, and just watch as I plug it in and out. You notice when it's on battery because the battery symbol will appear up here. So just watch and listen to the difference with the AC adapter connected.
Como foi? Isso passou da bola, foi aparecendo agora. Não há nada de campo de diretor. Perdeu a bola, agora depois dessa vingança, a bola foi encaminhada. E a defesa de uma bola violenta. É uma questão de essa chance de defesa acabou com a palavra aí. E para mim, o jogador que vai com lá atrás.
We'll try lower sideband.
Agora jogamos a frente, na frente, depois estava controlando, a gente estava participando de oportunidade para TV, estava procurando vencer a partida, num bate-debate.
The 10 hertz tuning on this does make quite a difference for ECSS, and we'll go through that. If you look here, oh yeah, SSB step 10 hertz. 20 hertz was the old 909X. The 909X2 allows you to choose 10 hertz. And you can also see here, you might have seen in one of the earlier videos, the software version, which is oh yeah, I have to press and hold. Software version is 70 or 070, and it does have the ability to update the software data in A and B, but the chances of getting that software and the cable from Sangean, I would imagine, would be 0. But listen to the quality of that audio on LSB or on sideband. When signals are that weak, it can be quite difficult to tune it in properly, but we'll go to AM and you'll see with the fading. Listen to it. You'll see on AM. There's the bandwidth. Okay, so now I will go to the Tecsun. So I'll just pause this for a minute. Okay, now we're back with the 990X. You can see the antenna switch. I'll turn off the light and see if it makes it better. Not really. Antenna switch external, and it's set to the X. See, unfortunately for the Tecsun, apart from that distortion, unfortunately for the Tecsun, the bandwidth oops. The 4 kilohertz filter doesn't work. Try lower sideband. I'm actually amazed the 990X isn't overloading now, but you will notice it because you will hear a kind of a ringing sound that disappears or reduces when you change the gain setting to normal or local. Right, we'll go back to the Sangean.
Mas não se pode deixar de reconhecer o quanto o Vinícius foi importante para essa subida, né? Eu acho que se o Vinícius o Remo não subiria, Cachá. Com certeza, eu concordo com você, Roberto. Eu concordo com você, porque o Vinícius Vinícius faz de milagre, sempre fez de todos os milagres no gol do Clube do Meno. Se ele teve uma contribuição aparecendo nesse jogo, isso aí não faz nem conceito, imagina que ele tem muito crédito. Deixa ele cobrar do Gilberto Alexandre, porque foi. É bom o salvamento. É porque então, eu vou mostrar que o Gilberto o Rafael já se afastaria, querido. É que não dá para você combinar nada naquela hora que você não vai levar. Por isso, sabe que agora o foco é título agora. Para feliz, disputar título, é isso? O Remo fez um jogo, teve duas oportunidades de fazer o gol, mas acabou perdendo essa oportunidade. Nós tivemos algumas oportunidades, não transformou na maneira dele, e no final do jogo abaixamos muito o bloco.
I think there's no denying there that the new 909X2 is definitely way superior to the 990X for ECSS, and it doesn't have that distortion on single sideband that plagues the Tecsun DSP radios. I do run the Tecsun down a lot, but in fairness to it, in fairness to the 990X on single sideband, when I was listening to some hams on 80 meters earlier, the station I wanted to listen to, there was bleed over from a contest station, but you could barely hear it on the 990X due to that superior filtering that it does have. But again, it's the sound quality that matters, and if the signals are strong, you get that distortion at the beginning of sentences, and sometimes it can be really noticeable. On the 909X2, the audio is much clearer, the filter is much wider, and as the consequence of that, you get that bleed over from adjacent stations. So no such thing as a perfect radio. I just don't know why the bandwidth doesn't work on this on sideband. Well, I'm on air there now. So if you're on sideband, if you press this, which is the bandwidth, nothing happens. So why, Sangean? Why did you do this? It's not a deal breaker. It's not the be all and end all. On this, while it does really, the selectivity does help on a crowded ham bands, it's the audio quality is just not that good. And you've heard the Sangean on Radio Club de Pará, how good it sounds using ECSS compared to the sound quality on the Tecsun. Definitely not helped by the 3 kilohertz filter. The 4 kilohertz doesn't work. It doesn't work on the 880 or S8800, which doesn't help. The PL-680, again, it has that issue where its filtering is just that little bit too wide. So you do get that bleed over from other stations if the band is crowded. On this you don't, but the sound quality is not that good. Weaker signals not too bad, but if you use the external antenna and the signals are anyway strong at all, you get that distortion. But again, ECSS on this, I'm very impressed. Very quickly, I'll go back to the text. This switches the different tone settings. The background noise on the Tecsun seems to be a little bit harsher as well. Seems to be noisier. Back to the Sangean. And now I'm running only on the battery. Let's see here. Here, the background noise doesn't seem to be as harsh either on this Sangean. I mean, if maybe I'll do it just for the laugh. Bear with me. Okay, for comparison, here's the IC-7300. There's the speaker. Yeah, I scratched the top. I had the tuner on top of it like an idiot. Anyway. Okay, so back to the Sangean. I really love this radio for ECSS with external antenna. Regardless of the issues one might have with the telescopic whip, I don't really use it anyway because, you know, for instance, there's no way in hell I'm going to hear Radio Club de Pará with the telescopic whip fully extended, even outdoors. I might get a whisper of it outdoors, but I mean, look at the signal strength there with 134 foot antenna. I'm not going to hear it. So why would I limit myself to the telescopic antenna? And if I was to travel with this radio, I mean, I would probably bring the XH Data D808 because it's much smaller and more compact. I would probably take that radio, but you know, I wouldn't be using the external antenna with that radio, and it's pretty good on the whip. And with an external antenna, the D808 just, it kills it. It's a decent radio, but it does eat the battery. And external antenna, I mean, you might get away with it during the daytime, but at nighttime it will just overload it and you will hear actually nothing on it. So I think for a base radio or for an armchair radio, like what I use this for downstairs in the sitting room with the Bonito antenna, this, I think I would be more than happy with this in its current form. The only thing I really do wish is that bandwidth would work on sideband. Obviously, look here now, you can see nothing changes here. I don't know why Sangean would think that that's a good idea, but radio engineers, or whatever you want to call them, they make decisions. I presume they have no interest in radio, no interest in ham radio, and probably just think that, you know, them idiots won't know any better, but we do. But anyway, the sideband audio quality on this is amazing. ECSS, you heard it yourself, compared to this and the Tecsun. So let me know what you think in the comments. I welcome all comments, good, bad or indifferent. So see you in the next video.